Yes guys, welcome from me, Channel Manager 0102. The new Nick Patcher has just been released. I say just, it was last night, but I've only just seen it. So I plan to do a walkthrough with Nick's Patcher version 2.23. This was released a few days after the update. You may recall from my previous video about the update, Nick would probably do one within a week. He did it within a few days. And I always knew there'd be another patcher, just a few tweaks here and there, and I've just spotted it, version 2.24. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a complete new install in from the very first step, because I've not even installed this on my computer, and I'm a bit pushed for time at the minute. So, first things first, install CM. So if you, assuming you're using Windows 10, you will be using an ISO file like so. If you're using Windows 7 or if you're using a CD, then just go to your CD drive and run the setup. That's the very first step. Now I'm gonna install this exactly as I want it. So this is actually a good time to do such a more thorough and in-depth demonstration. So the very first thing that I do it as a custom, always do my install as a custom, and because I've got no interest in sounds, picture tools, quick starts, etc., I take them all off. So this won't take too long. This is really important that you do this on these steps. Okay. The initial thing is installing. I don't have a shortcut, and I'll explain why. You can install DirectX and the README, read it if you want. There you go. Okay. Ensure that you have installed Service Pack 3 on your system as Channel Manager requires DirectX. Yep, all okay. Okay, step 1 done. Okay, step 2 is the 3.968 patch. Just remember, you can download the game officially, legally for free from the champman102.net website, and you can also get the 3.968 patch. This is an official patch. You do need this pretty much for everything in terms of updates. And the only thing you would never need this update for is if you wanted to just play the vanilla version. So it's identified, I've got it installed, Channel Manager 0102, 3.960 version, it's now going to become 3.968. Okay, this will not take too long. So as I said, I've only just spotted that latest Nick's Patcher. And I just got back from a school run and I thought, I'll do a quick video. I've got a half hour before I go to work. And then I realised there's a new version out. Okay, that's that done. The next step is you need your October 2022 update. And that is all these. You may recall this from the previous videos. Highlight them all. And make sure you do highlight them all. Make sure you definitely highlight them all. Because, you know, if you to miss one, you're going to fuck it up. Go to your Championship Manager folder and paste them in. And replace, obviously. Replace, override anything that it prompts you to, because you are just purely replacing it. And that's that done. Okay. The next step now then is we're going to use the patcher. Now as I said, I've just picked up the patcher, version 2.24, so I'm just going to make a copy of it very quickly. And just so I can remember where it all is. Okay, now before I go any further, okay, this is what you need to do. Compatibility. It's already set on Windows 95 and run as administrator, as you can see. However, this next thing, and I've got a previous video on this, I'm going to rename it, and that's important, that this will not work if you've already run the game once. Make sure you do this before you've run the game even once, and rename it whatever you want, but don't do it until after you've upgraded to 3.968 and you've moved over your files. So, I'm going to call this October versus 2.24. That is Nick's version. You can see I've already got one right here, which I've called Nick 2.23. Okay, now when that happens, right, your properties on your X will restore back to default, as you can see. So I'm just going to move them back to Run as Administrator, Windows 95. Just remember that Windows 95 compatibility. I'll explain why in a moment. Okay, so that is that step done. You don't actually need to do that step if you don't have multiple installations, because you can just leave it named as is. Let's run the patcher now then. We are going to run the patcher, The very first thing you need to do when the patcher is run, yeah, that I expected that, is locate which exe you wanna alter. And obviously I need to make sure I go to the right one. And it's going to tell me nothing's been patched. There you go, nothing's been patched. Would you like the patcher to suggest some options? Yeah, you can do if you wish. So this is the main screen of Nick's patcher version 2.24. You can see it in the top left hand corner there. You know, initially it's entirely up to you guys what each and every person's preference is. I do like to, I like to keep all that. I like to keep all that. I like to add to Parnies and certainly that. And I also, the most important thing is, this is the most important thing, is the starting year 2022. And as you can see at the bottom right hand corner, apply year specific misc patches. Whilst that's emboldened at the minute, so if you look at 2022, bang. I leave currency as times 2.5 and I put it as times 8 speed. That is my main settings that I want, and that's exactly to make sure it will. I don't want to make a restore point. Yeah, you can make a restore point, and I do advise a restore point, because a restore point is if you make any fuck ups, you can save and then restore it. But I'm not going to do it yet because it just takes a while. When you're first doing this, it does warn you there that changing things like the Welsh League to the National North and swapping South Korea for China, they are irreversible. But if you've made a save, you can restore it. So whilst it is irreversible, it technically isn't, because you can just restore it. Now, don't panic at this point, because when you are making changes like so, it will take, depending on the speed of your processor, it can take a minute, couple of minutes, or whatever. So this is the basics of Nick's patcher. The next thing I'm going to show you, whilst this is just updated as you can see, is you do this at your own risk. Nick does specify this is done at your own risk. You really got to know what you're playing with in order to do this. But it's a dodgy one, because I like to have my CM, I like to have the ODB, because we all like low ODB, and I also like to have an install as close to the update as possible. And to have it as close to the update, I meant as close to real life. And to have that, Nick's patcher, if you know what you're doing with it, really sort of, enables that almost. So, like I said, but you may not want to dick around with all that. You may just want a couple of basics, and that screen that you're looking at right now will sort your basics out. Your start year, your currency inflation, if you want that. I mean, I like currency inflation. I think it's brilliant. It reflects true life. Quick blast on currency inflation. So everything's multiplied by 2.5, and when I say everything, I mean everything. The value of a player, the wage he wants, the gate receipts money, etc, 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 bank balances, blah 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 blah. Okay, so that is almost done. It should say it's patched before it does anything. So yeah, the egg timer's up, and it will come up. It's all patched. That's a good thing. Don't panic by that. Okay. And I'm still waiting for it. Let's just make sure. I just want to make sure my mic's working okay. Yes. Maybe now. Like I said, depending on your processor or whatever it is you're using. I mean, I'm using a Tower PC because I'm stuck in a time zone over here. I could have selected the Manage Any Team. I don't personally see the point of Manage Any Team, because I like to have it set at the teams of the leagues that you're going to have open. Force load all players. I don't agree with force load all players. And I say agree, there we go, patch successfully. I don't go with the force load all players because I like to, it just makes the whole thing go a little bit slower. If you want to change the resolution to your screen, you can, which is right like that. Okay, but it doesn't apply to me. And you can also replace the AI tactics. I don't choose it. I keep that with the data update. Okay, so next phase, tools. Now, the tools are really important, right? Because there's a few of these I don't know what they are, and I'm only just starting to come to terms with it. If you want to dick around with the histories, you can, and this and that and this and that. So the ones that I'm going to show you is the referee patcher. The referee patcher. Now, first thing I do, I go to referee. A lot of people they said that there was too many red cards. There was too many red cards, and this was on one of the older updates, and I'm inclined to agree. So you can see, you're changing, what I'm doing is I'm changing the discipline percentage modifier of the referees to minimise the amount of red cards. I say minimise, you could call it a cheat, but I think it's a bug in the game of too many red cards. Okay, so that's one thing, and that's how you do it. The EEC hacker, we all know what that is. I'm going back a page so I know I'm on the right CM folder, and I can see by 2.24. So the EEC, you'll see what it says. This will make all countries EEC members, removing the need for work permits. Continue. Yes. Bang. Done. So that's that done. And finally, remove stadium limits. Now, this is another thing I don't think is 100% clear. I think there's still a few issues with that, but stadium expansion limits removed. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, now this next bit is a bit, and it's going to specify here. There you go. This will provide a list of all current miscellaneous patches. Do not apply any of these unless you know what you're doing. You will most likely break your exe by applying these. Best to do a save so you can restore afterwards. This goes back to what I said before about making saves and then you can restore. Do not ask for support. You're on your own. Totally agree with that. Okay, so remember we selected that thing in the corner. If I can just maybe move this up. I can't. Let me just cross it out. Yeah, in the bottom right hand corner, as you can see of this page here, apply new year. So these are the missed patches. Now you can go through them all if you want, and then select what you prefer. You've got most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do have a description. But the 2021, you don't need to do any of that. So let's start from here. Okay, so this one here, basically this combines everybody's total appearances from previous seasons, including their subs. So if they did 10 subs and 10 starts, it will simply show 20 as it shows on that description there. I like that. 9 and 5 subs for everywhere patch. So I think I read somewhere somebody wanted to have 9 available subs and use 5 of them in Turkey. I believe this patch will rectify that. So that's that. Some things I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. If I don't know what they are, I don't touch them. I don't like that regen to new country. I like them to regen to their original country. So I keep that as is. You see a lot of things that are already ticked in here. Don't ask about player comparison. I'm not really I'm not really fussed about that. Enable season ticket on your first season. I'm not sure if that actually applies, but I do have it ticked anyway. These next three, fitness patch, I mark them all because I just think it helps. Now you see this one here, fixed network game patch. Remember I told you about the compatibility? I have it as Windows 95. That's because I play network games. That's why that is. If you're not gonna play network games, you can get away with using that compatibility at Service Pack 3, and you won't need this patch. Personally, I'll do it anyway. Give more options. That's already ticked for you. Half signing on fit, it's already done. Human manager attributes. I love the idea of having attributes as a manager. It's not a biggie, but it's just one of them things to me. Ignore player histories on load. Now, I clear that, and I'll tell you for the reason, right? When you're playing a game and you see a player, he's just hit his 200th goal for the club, you think, fuck off. I like to just clear histories of all players for 2 reasons. One, because it's a fresh game, it's a fresh save, and if you want to know the history of a player, just fucking Google it. And 2, because it makes it go quicker. There's a few things that have clearly been added. San Marino to European qualifiers, he's added that clearly. What's that? Let's have a look at that. The patch to change promotions to English Division 3 from Conference to 2. Normally has 1 promotion to Division 3. This patch, I thought that was already applied, if I'm honest with you. So, scrap that shit for a minute. Loans patches, I think we'll put that to 9. I don't even know what that is there. Right, okay, look, there you go. I've read that before. Okay, so I'll tick it anyway. No complaining about a new position. I'm not really too fussed about that. No MLS foreign restrictions. I think we should have that. No foreign restrictions for all. In fact, we may as well just do that. Okay, no work. We don't need no work permits because we're not going to have no restrictions anyway. In fact, no, we can have no work permits. Page down. Now, do we know what page down is? This is predominantly for internet games, but you know when you try and press continue and it won't let you, you can press page down on your keyboard or shift and page down. It will sort of do a force continue. Now on network games, let's pretend someone hasn't pressed continue and they're fucked off to the toilet. You can force continue. This next thing, you may recall this from one of the previous ones, pause on minor injury. Now, we've all had it, haven't we, where you go to your subs at half time and a player's on 50% and you think, what the fuck? He hasn't been stretched off injured, but he's clearly got an injury. The game will pause and bring up as if there's an injury when there's a minor injury. I personally like that. It's not for everybody, but I personally like it. Raise the retirement age of unemployed and employed managers. I'm not sure what that is raised to, but I do like it. And now this one was one of my specifications as requested by me, Offside Trap. This reduces the number of days it takes for the FA to reply to 2 or less. I love that. Okay, keep going down. We're almost there, guys. Remove second name requirement when you're putting your name in for a new game. I like to have that. Okay. See any team finances. Bang. I like that. I think that's important because it just adds a little bit of extra to it. Uncapped 20. So you know when you can see Kevin De Bruyne, he's got a 28 passing, and you think, how the fuck do you see that? Uncap the 20. There you go. Right, what's that there then? Let's just have a look at that. If the World Cup is seeded on the first year, right? I don't know what that is, so I don't know what it is. So I'm not going to touch it. Okay, so we'll come to these in a minute. Now I'm going to come to these Satin patches these Satin ones in a moment. I just want to go over things just to be on the safe side. But what I'll do very quickly, let's just apply. Let's just apply it. It's going to take a minute. There you go, patches applied, and you'll know that they've been applied because they're now emboldened and they are irreversible. So just go over things if you're unsure. So remember we had that combined appearances patch. Not yet. So they've all been done. There was something about the World Cup. I don't know what he's done with the World Cup, to be honest with you. So I'm trying to look. The World Cup he had to be played in November to December, in line with real life. And I'm not sure where that is. So let's go straight. Right, okay, well I can't see it, so maybe I'm missing it, maybe it's right in front of me, but I am rushing, I'm truly honest here, I'm rushing. It's not that one there. So the last, okay, protection. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you, right, all these Satin patches, these are from the various old versions of Satin. You don't really need to do any of them. I don't touch any of them. If you know what you're doing, go for it. But there is one particular one, you can filter these out. There's one particular one that I am gonna check, and it's that one there. Basically, when a player is on loan, Satin, before Nick came around and started producing his masterpieces, Satin put this patch in where when a player was on loan, that he can't, then an offer can't come in for a player on loan. Now, the loan system in the game is flawed, but this protects you losing a player on loan when a team bids for him and he fucking fucks it all up for you. So I like that, like where it's protected. Personal preference, I like it. I'm going to apply that. Okay, that is that. That is all done. Okay, that is all. Now, if you know what you're doing with the others, then go for it. Definitely, if you know what you're doing, then go for it. Now, that's not it yet. There's one more thing I'm going to show you very, very quickly. If you've been fortunate, or if you've been able to acquire the offsets for other MISC patches that are not on Nick's list, then this is where you apply them. And I'm going to show you, because I've got a few, okay, that I've managed to get hold of through one person or another. So you know, I'm clearly taking no credit here whatsoever. And they are I don't need that human attributes one anymore because Nick's now got that. So the AI squad status, all you do, patch apply. So what that's done is I can now see the AI computer players and if their squad rotation, if they're indispensable. All jobs together, so if you've got multiple leagues opened, they're all now put together. School search is It condenses that down to players with a PA of 180 at least. And I'm hoping this last one is already done. Serbia switch. Serbia and Yugoslavia, that was all messed up. So, I'm not going to save this yet. I'm not going to save it yet for the simple reason I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work. If it don't work, then I won't save it, obviously. But if it works, I can restore. If it works, I can save it and then keep it as a restore. Right. Okay. So let me just make sure. I don't think I've gone to the right one, have I? No. Do you know what? I realised as soon as because this is a brand new install, this should be coming into full screen, and I realised I loaded up the wrong one. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this into window mode. I'm going to leave it on. Minimum database because for the benefit of quickness. Okay, so let's just start a quick game and we'll do it with national leagues. Okay, there's a reason I'm doing national leagues because I just want to check something with how many get promoted from the non-league. I think it's 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2. Remember what I said about various different bits and pieces that I've added? You only need 1 name. Okay, let's go to the National League North. Let's just, yeah, so top 3 go up. Let's just have a look at the conference. Top 2, yeah, so that is all set up, which is really important. That's the reason I was doing it. Right, so that's all done. And there we are. I didn't mean to go to that. So we are done. We are done. Now what I'm going to do is let's just go to a random AI team. Boston, Mills, you can see he's an important player. You can see Wright is an important player. Let's have a look at how much money they've got in the bank. Nothing. And 64 grand in the bank. Me as manager, let's have a look at my attributes. Bang, there we are. We are ready to go. Now, the one thing I'm going to check very, very quickly is let's just check the World Cup. Right, okay, so it's already built in then. The World Cup will be in mid-November. Now, don't quote me on this. I think there's going to be a patch. There's a patch somewhere. There was on the previous version where you can move it to the end of the year. But he might have rectified all what I'm about to say. I say he, Nick. Basically, whilst the World Cup takes place in November, the English League doesn't have a break like it's going to in real life. What the English League does is they just they still have games, but you'll have a lot of postponements, and then you'll have a backlog of fixtures. So it might be easier to move it to the end of the season. I don't know. I've not tested it enough, but nevertheless, hopefully that's all sorted out. And obviously these are all done with the correct groups. I'm just going to check that Serbia are in it correctly. Because Serbia and Yugoslavia, there seemed to be an issue with, and I seem to have got wrong, whatever that is. There seemed to be an issue with Serbia and Yugoslavia, but I'm sure, yeah, that's sorted out. Serbia are in Group Group G. So that is it then, guys. That is Nick's Patcher 2.24. Now, I can't stress enough, right? I think this patcher is fucking amazing. I really do. I think, fuck that. I think, you know, it really is phenomenal work from Nick. You can, if you wanted, like I say, so what I'm going to do very, very quickly, the very last thing I'm going to do, because I'm really, really running out of time now, just need to go back to that. I'm going to go back to my exe, or X, whatever you want to call it, just to make sure that I'm playing with the right one, because obviously I've got multiple installations. And what I'm going to do at this stage, I am going to save. This is really important. So what I could do now if I wanted, I could fuck around with those other missed patches, see if I can work out this and that, and then I could restore it if there was an issue. But, okay, I thought I could have swore I did that. Restrict players and tactics. That is an option, something I have looked at. That prevents you loading tactics. That's really important. It prevents you loading tactics. Very good for internet games because it prevents people going to load in a WibBob tactic if you don't use WibBob. It prevents you altering the with and without ball section. Okay, so that's it, guys. If you've got anything you want to add, anything I've missed, which I may well have, do share it with us. Until next time from me, guys, take it easy.